Live from the studio of his parents' basement, the Have You Seen It podcast.
Hello and welcome back to this very special edition of the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight. Sitting across from me is the one and only Cash Kraus. But before we begin, if you guys could please be sure to smash that like button, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. So with that said, Cash, what are we doing for this special occasion?
Swing this around.
Yeah.
And let me nice squeaky door effect we got on this one.
Yes, we do. It's a good old soundboard.
Yeah. Oh, I am so excited, Mason. I love these episodes. I look forward to them all year round. Yep. It is our end of the year spectacular, our top 10s.
Our top 10s that we are a month behind because we had so much film to watch, much film
behind,
to catch
but
up
earlier
to.
than the Oscars.
That is true. In all fairness,
That's all you got to be. If you're going after the Oscars, then it's like, why are you making your top 10? Why are you coming out? We know what the movies are.
We should start doing a top 10 and then an award show. I think that'd be fun. Where we pick cinematography
and we get celebrities to come up to accept awards.
Exactly.
Mr. Tom Cruise, Stevie Spielberg, Tommy Hanks.
All the Toms.
Yeah, we got to knock down
all the Toms.
And all the Chris's.
All the Chris's, yes.
The Chris Pines, the Chris Pratts.
The Chris Evans.
Don't
the Christopher Reeves.
Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken.
I don't call him Chris. Walken, that'd be weird.
It would be weird.
He counts. He definitely counts. But yeah, it's we're a little late to the game. But to be honest, I looked over a lot of top 10 lists this year, and my list looks... There's no one list that looks the same.
Nope. Because we were going through our honorable mentions before we started this, and we were like, okay, we got to just do this because our lists are so much different. And that's the thing too. I watched a bunch of lists on YouTube and people that I enjoy watching. Not a single list was even close to being the same.
No, exactly.
It was
so
wild.
I don't feel like we're too late to the game because every list is unique, and this one is going to be unique, to say the least. It was the most difficult fucking year to compile a goddamn top 10 list.
Yes, it was.
There were so many good movies this year. Some stinkers, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
There always are. But so many good movies this year that it took me days to compile this list.
Yeah.
And I got a feeling ours are going to be vastly different.
Yes, they will be. But
should we jump into it? We're going to get our honorable mentions out of the way first, and then we'll dive into the top fucking 10. The big one.
So, do you want to start or me?
Should we just go back and forth?
Yeah, let's just go back and forth.
Okay, you go first. Go ahead.
Okay, this is a film that surprised the living hell out of me. I had zero expectations going in. I thought it was going to be a bust. I thought it wasn't going to be funny, and it actually blew my expectations out of the water, and that is Free Guy.
Yes.
Free Guy was actually surprisingly really funny, really well put together, especially for like a video game movie, which historically have been awful.
Especially for a Ryan Reynolds movie.
Ryan Reynolds as well, yeah. And he actually knocked it out of the park. Like, there were so many great moments in that film, and it's one I would highly recommend.
I've heard that from a lot of people. It's one I have not seen yet, but almost everyone has come back and said they were pleasantly surprised by it.
Very surprised.
Because that movie was so weird. It was coming out for so long. It got delayed for so long. Remember that?
That historically is not good for a film.
But we never got word that they were reshooting or anything. It just kept getting fucking delayed. And then just to come out to Netflix, right? Mm-hmm. I think it did come out to theaters too.
It did have a release to theaters, but then you could rent it on Prime Video for like $4.
Yeah.
And me and my wife were just sitting there one day. I was like, I've actually heard decent things about this. I have zero expectations, but I'm going to go check it out.
Yeah, that's probably why I didn't see it, because I remember hearing a ton about it. And then for a year and a half, you heard absolutely nothing about it. You weren't even sure if the movie was still coming out. And then they did a huge advertisement push with like Deadpool and everything. Remember those? They did a commercial with them. But Free Guy, that's a good one.
Yeah, and also has a pretty noticeable name there, too. Waititi is in the film.
Oh, of course.
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, he's good in everything. So, All right, let me do one. This is a foreign film, and it's an interesting one. Okay. Titane.
Titane, the French film. Yeah.
Which is it's just the craziest film ever.
Dude, that was one of the more wild films, and I'm glad that made our honorable mentions. Did not make the top 10, but bro, that film was insane. Especially at the end.
For a landscape of just remakes, reboots, and sequels, that was definitely a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, you're not going to see
definitely original.
You're not going to see very many of those. But if you're into women having sexual relations with Pontiacs, then this movie is right up your alley. But kind of just a weird, sentimental story at the end of it with the adoption of the kid. And but just some side stories that are just the craziest shit. There's a serial killer element to it.
And kind of sad. And depressing.
Very sad.
Like, a lot of obviously the guy who kind of adopts her into the firehouse. Yeah. I don't want to get into spoilers, but it's like, man.
And her hiding the pregnancy of her Transformer baby.
God, yeah. Just taping her body up the whole time.
Yeah, if the one thing of that movie was just crazy off the wall, but it's got a pretty good story. It's pretty linear, and it's a good movie overall.
Yeah,
it just did not make the top 10 list, unfortunately. But I did see it on some people's top 10 list.
Interesting.
Definitely. All right. Give me something.
All right. So this is actually weird because it's an honorable mention, but it's a trilogy, and that is the Fear Street trilogy on Netflix. I thought, I saw advertisements. We did a trailer reaction.
You were really
before
against
it came
this.
Out, and I was like, I was. I'm like, this is some teeny bop horror. It's not going to be good. No gore, and it's going to be 38-year-olds playing teenagers. Wasn't any of that.
Yeah.
It was actually a really well put together trilogy, and I had a lot of fun with it.
That was one where I think each movie got better and better. I think the third one was the best.
Yeah.
The 17. It wasn't 17
or
it wasn't 1776, right?
No.
There would have been a bigger story. Yes,
yeah.
But it was 17 something, I can't remember. Right. But yeah, I had a lot of faith in those films.
I got to be honest, though, the summer camp one, 1984, was my favorite one.
That was a good one, too.
Yeah, that was like a slasher.
Kids were getting taken out by the dozens.
Yeah, they were getting killed, mutilated. It was awesome.
And funny, though, the shows did a really good job of writing the teen characters.
Yeah.
They did a really good job. But, yeah, I like that one, too. I had faith in that one. I totally forgot to put it on any kind of list, but I like those books a lot, too, because those were the more adult R.L. Stine books, for sure, but definitely brutal.
Yeah, very brutal.
Very brutal.
Pleasant surprise.
That's a good one. Great one to have on the list. I'm going to pick one that I think it's on both of our honorable mentions lists, but it's Macbeth.
Macbeth, yes. A Tragedy in Macbeth.
A Tragedy in Macbeth by, Ethan Coen.
Ethan
not
Coen,
the Coen brother.
starring,
it's so weird not to say it.
I know, just the one. It's not
so
the
weird
brothers.
not to say the Coen. Yeah. The Coen brother.
The brother.
The brother, yeah.
But you got Denzel Washington, Frances McDormand starring in that.
Yes.
And their chemistry together was great. It was beautiful. It was like
the
you were
set design
on it.
stole the goddamn show.
It
for
did.
Sure. It made you feel like you were at a very high production value play of the tragedy of Macbeth. Yeah. But all the side characters too, especially the witch, was incredible. The witch / old man.
Yeah, the highlight of that film for sure. That performance was awesome.
Yeah, it was really good and beautiful, and one of many films that was shot in black and white this year, and almost every film shot in black and white that I saw was only elevated by it being shot in black and white. Yeah. Like, that movie would not have been as good if it was shot in color, because you could tell it was all 100% shot on a soundstage.
Of course.
Which is usually not what you want.
No, not for color. Yeah, no.
But yeah, Tragedy of Macbeth on Apple TV Plus, right.
There we go.
God, that's a mouthful.
It is. So this is an honorable mention, just because I got to be honest, I enjoyed it. It was definitely not going to make my top 10, but for Netflix and what, historically their films have not been great. They're starting to pick up films that are pretty good, and I actually had a good time with this. I knew what to expect. There were some twists and turns, and I enjoyed it. Being on an airplane too, I thought was unique, but that's Blood Red Sky.
Yeah, that's one I forgot about too. Mm-hmm. That was a pretty good vampire story.
Yeah, it was.
Pretty interesting. Had a crazy bad guy in it.
Yeah, you could say a psychopath.
The stewardess guy who was at first the nicest guy ever.
Nicest, flamboyant. Like, how's everyone going? And
taking care of people. And then he goes crazy. But it has, I won't get into it too, but it has a pretty crazy twist too, especially with that bad guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good one. there's so many vampire stories. It's nice to have a kind of fresher story.
It is.
All right, that's a good one. I'm gonna go with another one that I was super excited about, and I really did like it. I actually watched it a few times. It is The French Dispatch.
Oh yeah,
Wes Anderson. If you've seen a Wes Anderson film, then you know what you're getting into for sure. But great characters, an amazing ensemble cast of all the Wes Anderson people. Adding Jeffrey Wright this time, though.
best move ever.
It's a good move. For any
Never
film,
a bad move. Yeah.
any film, if you have the option to add Jeffrey Wright as any role, just throw him in there. Make him roll up.
Even if it's a cameo.
Improv it.
Yeah.
Just throw him in. Just throw him on camera. But
No, it was really good. And again, we just did a review on that, so you guys can go watch that. But as I brought up in the review, it was very, Wes Anderson has this just like very whimsical world where it's like,
it's a world you want to live in.
Yeah, in the very beginning, he's like, just to deliver food or whatever on the tray, he had like to go through an obstacle course, and like pull up ropes, go up ladders. Like, I don't know. There's something about it that is very unique.
Yeah, it's a world where people don't mind going the extra mile for really good service and really good shit. Like, you have to assume it's the best coffee ever if this guy's climbing 18 flights of stairs.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but a movie I liked a lot.
All right. Let's see. So I did put another round, but I guess that was 2020. But we reviewed it in 2021, so we won't talk about that. But another round's great. Matt Wilkinson, go check that film out.
Yes.
But here's another one. Justice League Snyder Cut hit my honorable mentions.
Oh man, this is the only one that I just can't agree with in any sense at all.
I thought the Snyder Cut was 100 times better. I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything about it. And a film that like could have been a miniseries,
Gosh, it was so long. It could have been, yeah.
It could have been, yeah. It was like 4 hours.
God. Yeah, a movie that I did not enjoy nearly as much as you. I enjoyed it from more than the original, of course, because the original was such an abysmal piece of shit that you guys slapped anything together, and it would have been better. But a crazy story nonetheless.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely insane. A story where the internet actually, for the most part, did something good.
Yeah.
I mean, but a crazy story for a studio to go back on a movie that they made and pretty much say, yeah, not our best. We're going to retry it. It's only what happened in the age of the internet.
Yeah.
Before then, it would just be a shit movie no one would ever talk about again.
Or you'd find the director's cut 15 years later on a VHS.
In his garage that he's after he died or something.
Exactly.
Okay, that's a controversial one for sure, Mason.
Oh, yeah.
Very
well, you know me, I like to bring some controversy on the podcast.
Yes, you do. I have one that I liked a lot, and it was debated to be on my top 10, but that is The Last Duel, directed by Ridley Scott.
The better of his two films this year.
Oh, my God. Yes, for sure. But I loved just the element of storytelling, shooting it from 3 different perspectives. And
having to relive the tragedy, I guess, or not the tragedy. What's the word I'm looking for? Relive that awful experience.
Yeah,
time and time again from 3 different perspectives.
Well, and just showing how each character is viewed from each perspective.
Yeah,
how they're viewed from the villain in one person's eyes and the heroes in another. I definitely thought that was an easy thing you could have fucked up, and it definitely takes a seasoned director like Ridley Scott to pull something like that off.
Yeah.
But that's where he's most comfortable. The history.
And unfortunately, we'll probably never get another historical drama.
Yes,
from
something
Ridley
we also
Scott.
got to talk about that because it's arguably the biggest flop of the year. I think West Side Story is also one of the.
Yeah, I don't know why you'd remake that again.
It was really good. It could have made my honorable mentions for sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But The Last Duel, I thought just the storytelling element was amazing, and the set pieces were awesome. But that's a tough one to pull off, anyways, because it's tough subject matter. A lot of people don't want to go see a movie where a rape is replayed 3 different ways.
in you get the easy perspective first, like she wanted it, and then you get into the reality.
And even then, it's like that could be seen either way still, but it's like.
But then when you get her perspective,
let's do it again.
Awful.
Let's keep doing it again, and that's tough subject matter for sure. Disney definitely botched the advertisement for it. But again, that's a tough one to advertise.
Yeah.
And then Ridley
especially for
Scott
Disney.
came in and he didn't do anything better by blaming millennials because that's not a movie millennials are going to
Get off your damn cell phones is what he was saying.
But The Last Duel, I would definitely recommend. It's a very, very fucking good movie.
Absolutely. This one might have been hidden to a lot of people. It wasn't a real big film, but I thoroughly enjoyed this as like a psychological horror film, and that is The Visual. The Visual to me was great, and it's an easy movie to digest. It's literally like an hour and 28 minutes.
Not a
or
lot of
something
movie
like that.
it definitely flew under the radar.
Yeah, it did.
But yeah, a very good. It is like a psychological horror, but definitely has supernatural elements to it for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
With the whole
Jewish
Jewish
to watch
demon
the-
or whatever. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that's a good one. I get this one is also it's kind of crazy, but No Time to Die.
Yes, 007. It was great. It made my honorable mentions as well.
The finale, the ending. No more Daniel Craig. It's crazy.
Spoiler.
Well,
But yeah,
everyone knew that was
knew,
his last
everyone
film.
knew,
I didn't say that. I didn't say how he went, but
yeah. Well, if you haven't seen it yet, you should have saw it.
He walks off into the sunset, very
does.
happy, very
with his
happy,
family.
man.
It's a
Kids.
great ending.
Yeah, he's gonna have a good time.
He will.
But yeah, I thought they did a really good job sending him off in a great way.
Yeah.
Those are movies we talked about if you didn't see our review, but I grew up with those films. He's my James Bond. So it was tough to see him go.
It was. It was
an emotional hurdle I did not think I would have to go over.
I know. I actually got a little
I know.
emotional too watching it, and I'm like, "What's my fucking problem?" You
I should be a man. You're a man.
You're a man. Do you think James Bond would cry?
He did. I think he did.
Yeah, I think he should have.
He showed him this was a very vulnerable James Bond.
An older James Bond too.
A weathered James Bond. This guy could barely move. Scar tissue, arthritis, psychological demons, PTSD.
Torment. Yeah, he was going through a lot.
It's better off this guy is off the job. I mean, the last 3 films, he stopped being a good spy.
Yeah, he did.
Maybe he never was.
He probably wasn't. He just got real lucky.
Yeah. But yeah, loved it. Check it out for sure.
Another honorable mention for me, and this film came out in February, so a long time ago. A lot of people might have forgot about it, but that's Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah, that was a great film. It's a tough one to watch for sure.
Of course.
Another one that's kind of hard to market. But yeah, that was a really, really good film with, even though you know where it's going, it's, I don't know, it's tough subject matter to put on film for sure. Yeah. But tragic, man. And if you don't know that story either of Fred Hampton, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't know that story, go and watch that film because they do a really good job of retelling that story. But very sad. Will make you
Very
mad, upset.
It'll piss you off.
I know it'll
Yeah,
definitely
it'll
upset
definitely
you.
piss you off.
Okay, I'm gonna go with another one. Candyman.
Whoa, Candyman.
Right? It was written by Jordan Peele, not directed by him,
Right.
but a sequel to the original Candyman, which we've done on this. We did on this before we did the new one.
Yep.
Loved it. Loved the old one, and I love the new one. I thought they pulled it all together in an excellent way. Yep. And some scary scenes. That scene where he just climbs out of the wall to hand that kid. Oh.
Yes. Super creepy. And
Scars me.
Dude, I was messing with my wife for like a week after that film. I'd be like, Candyman.
Yeah.
She'd get so mad. She'd be like, don't.
But what they did in that film with the mirror reflection or whatever, when you could and couldn't see him.
That
and
one
he's
scene was
dragging the leg.
Yeah. That one scene when it was like multiple mirrors, and then he just leans this way. Like, it gives me chills right now thinking about it because it's just so creepy.
A movie I definitely will go back and watch again for sure. Should be added to the Halloween slate, definitely, because I like this. Some scary scenes. And like I said, a great story. But, all right, what else you got?
All right, I've got One Night in Miami.
One Night in Miami? That was another great one.
That was another one
that I
that
totally
came-
forgot about as well.
Yeah, this one came out...
Amazon Prime, right?
Yeah, but this one came out really...
Really early.
yeah.
Early on to February for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up.
A great kind of fictional story of just 4 powerful celebrities and leaders all meeting into one room. It was amazing. Sam Cooke. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because do we technically count it because Venice Film Festival September 7th, but it didn't release on Prime Video until January. So that still counts.
I can't.
I only go for what we can see. Okay.
Because I couldn't go to Venice this year, unfortunately.
Right, unfortunately,
we
just
make it
wasn't
out.
in the budget.
Next year, we're counting on it. We're going to circuit next year.
Absolutely.
But yeah, definitely count it. One Night in Miami. That's another one that people definitely probably forgot about.
Yeah.
Because it came out so early.
So early on.
And that's what Amazon does. They make a huge push of when things comes out and then buries that thing for the rest. Yeah. That's a good one. I had to put an animated film on here. One that probably made a lot of people's top 10, but Encanto.
That's one I have not seen
Was
yet.
an awesome, awesome film. Has a banging soundtrack, my guy.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's good. Not Moana good when it comes to soundtracks, but really fucking good. They have 2 songs on the Billboard Top 10 right now.
Jeez, that's crazy.
I know. Is that crazy?
That's wild.
Disney, man.
Is it on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Okay, I might have to check it out.
Oh, it's worth it for sure. It's got a great story. Yeah. All right, I'm coming down to it.
All right, this is the last one. This is on both of our lists for honorable mention, and then we jump into our top 10. That is Mass. We just saw this film. Mass was really enjoyable. It's a simple story of a family meeting another, or a mom and dad meeting another mom and dad about like a school shooter.
Well, yeah, their son was victim to the school
killed.
shooter,
Yeah.
and then the other set of parents was the
school
shooter's parents. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a wild story, and just the toughest subject matter to handle these days. I always kind of mold the idea of how you could do a movie approaching the subject matter of school shootings, and it's fucking difficult to pull off. Yeah. It is tough. Not a lot of people would even be willing to take on the risk and challenge, but they pulled it off, man.
Yeah, they
and
do.
without showing any violence or anything, it's just a couple parents sitting in a room the entire time.
That's it.
And it's both of them, and it's like 6 years after or something.
Yeah, 6 years after.
But they each convey the most complicated range of emotions. Mm-hmm. It's not anger anymore. It's just, I don't even know what it is. It's a wild, you want them to be angry the whole time.
Yeah, you do.
You want them to yell at these people, and you want the other parents to say sorry and forgive, but it's past that point.
Well, yeah, and it's much more complicated than that.
Yes, much deeper. It's a great movie.
It's almost like a trying to find that closure, and not exactly even knowing how to obtain that, but just having the meeting and talking it out is beneficial for both parties.
Yeah, it's wild. And just like, I don't know, it's so bizarre because they have to have like a lawyer mediate the whole thing and be like, because I'm sure, because the parents were all sued by everyone, of course. Yeah. It's a wild movie. But yeah, one that definitely flew under the radar. I didn't even know about it until I saw it on some other person's top 10.
Yep.
And then, But I have one more on there, one that's controversial as well.
Oh, okay.
It's a horror film, James Wan.
That's right.
Malignant.
Yeah, that did not make my honorable mentions. I got to be honest, it was a little wild for me. I don't know what it was about it, but I just did not love it enough to put it on my honorable mentions. But tell us why you did.
I thought it was just the uniqueness of it. Yeah. You know, I don't think it was the best film of all time, but I just thought it was very unique. And it's horror films and comedies are the hardest films to pull off.
Yeah.
But I thought James Wan, he's a master of that. But it's just super unique. It's hard to find a unique new story, especially in a horror slasher landscape these days. And I thought he did a pretty good job of doing a story that no one's done before.
Yeah.
But pretty wild. I did, and I definitely like the effect of, this might be in spoiler, but him moving backwards constantly.
That was cool. That was a cool element that you've never really seen.
That never wavered into one scene where you'd be like, oh, now it doesn't look like it all constantly looked like he was moving backwards.
Which is super off-putting and creepy. Yeah, exactly. Stole the words right out of my mouth.
That's the honorable.
All right.
Let's get into it. The top 10. This is going to be wild. Buckle up, people. Buckle up.
All right, number 10, Cash. What is your number 10?
Oh, you want me to go first? You bastard.
Yep.
You bastard. This is a tough one. I think you're going to be shocked by it.
Boy.
But this is Nightmare Alley by Guillermo del Toro. I
Night
had to put it on there
Yes.
as my number 10. It's a neo-noir psychological thriller. Huge fucking cast. Like I said, directed by Guillermo del Toro, one of my favorite directors of all time. A film that did not do well at the box office.
Unfortunately.
But stars Bradley Cooper, Kate Blanchett, Rooney Mara, Toni Collette, and one of many films of Willem Dafoe this
Willem
year,
Dafoe,
who
he
blessed
is
us
on fire.
with so many goddamn gems. I can't turn around without seeing that guy in something, and I love it. He's amazing in everything. Ron Perlman, Richard Jenkins. It's amazing, based on a 1946 novel. It was not the story I expected. It starts off in a way that you kind of think it's going to go full circus, but then it completely goes away from that, and that becomes that neo-noir thriller, really. But an excellent story, I thought. Definitely underrated. Not enough people saw it. A film that they just re-released in black and white, another film that they did. And I think black and white would help this film a lot. Well, I mean, not help it, but also just add another element to it. Because the original, it would give it more of that neo-noir kind of old school style. But I liked it, Mason.
All right. Well, that's a great number 10. And yeah. So, all right, here is mine. My number 10 is actually a foreign film directed by Anders Thomas Jensen and starring Mads Mikkelsen.
It's on my list as well. Higher, though.
Riders of Justice was my number 10 this year. I really, really enjoyed the hell out of this film. I thought Mads did an awesome job. The story is not what you think it is, and I don't want to give any spoilers if you have not seen the film, so it's hard for me to kind of break it down. But the ending was nothing of what I expected, and actually, in a weird way, had me just laughing and having a good time. And that's something this film did really well, is like balancing like seriousness, but along the way, there were so many times that I caught myself laughing and having a good time as well.
Yeah, Riders of Justice, that was my number 8 this year.
Really?
So
Okay.
very, very close. But like you said, 2021, last year, we should start saying that. We keep saying this year.
We did,
but last year was kind of the year for alternative revenge thrillers. Like in the wake of John Wick and all those, we're getting ones that are very unconventional. And that's what Riders of Justice was. I think we both went into it thinking it was going to be
one thing,
a story of this group of guys going out and killing, serving justice their way.
Yeah.
But it's so much more complicated than that.
Definitely is.
It
was a film that stuck with me all year. 'Cause
Yeah.
we reviewed that, I think, like 6 months ago, and it's something that I still think about to this day.
Yeah, and the Danes are killing it because they have that anchor of Mads Mikkelsen always. I mean,
I know. You put
him
him in anything, it's going to crush.
Yeah, but the other 3 guys in that film, though,
The supporting cast was
God
really...
damn, they
they
killed
were
it.
really funny.
I won't butcher
Nicholas,
their names.
Nicholas Bro,
Nicolaj.
like Koss,
Yeah.
as Otto, Lars Bergman.
Bergman. Anyways, the film was awesome. The Danes are killing it. I said. But Riders of Justice, if you haven't seen it, it's got like the most weighty kills, I think, in any kind of revenge thriller. Where like every time someone's killed, it has a big wake on everyone in the movie.
Yes.
It's but I don't want to go into.
I know.
But there's some scenes that are like where these guys just start breaking down and they start like literally start crying.
Crying or panicking.
Yeah, exactly. But definitely worth it. That's a good one. It was on my number 8, so
All right,
you got me there.
I know. Here's my number 9. I know it probably did not make your list, but it most certainly made mine. And that is a film directed by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and that's Tick, Tick, Boom, starring Andrew Garfield. I fucking love this movie. I love the musical numbers in it. I love the set design. The story was good. Andrew Garfield, oh my God, the range this guy has. He's one of the best actors right now.
He is. He's getting better and better with every film.
He really does. Like, even him in Spider-Man as well. He had that really emotional scene.
Yeah.
Like, you felt it. You really felt it, and you believe that. And that's the most important thing as an actor. But, just the story surrounding this movie as well. Like, Andrew Garfield never sang before, and I guess he was learning how to sing for like a year to lead in this film. I don't know, just everything surrounding it. And it had a really good story too, you know, like what it was like for obviously gay people, you know, back in the 80s and 90s is a lot different than how it is now. You also had the AIDS pandemic going. You know, and a lot of his friends died too. Jonathan Larson's friends. And it was just like an accumulation of everything that I really just enjoyed this movie.
A biography about Jonathan Larson and Lin-Manuel Miranda's directorial debut. Yeah, I think of all the musicals that came out this year, Tick, Tick, Boom was definitely the best, I think. And it was right up there. It definitely could have made my top 10 for sure.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. But yeah, Andrew Garfield, incredible. Lin-Manuel Miranda, that's a good start.
Yep.
For sure. And Lin-Manuel Miranda, he also did the music for Encanto.
Oh,
so that should hook you. I should have said that.
All right, I'm in. Me and my wife were watching it tonight.
I should have let into that.
Yeah, you should have. You really should have, in hindsight. But I will definitely check that out.
He does all the music for it.
Yeah,
he's just in a perfect spot right now in his career and everything, man. He can do whatever he wants.
Well, he's and this is not hyperbolic, but he really is like a genius.
Yeah,
when it comes to music,
so
just
much.
making really good music. You know.
I like Tick, Tick, Boom a lot more than In the Heights, which is another one movie that he had a lot of influence on. But yeah, that's a good one to have. All right, this one I know is going to be higher on your list.
Oh, well, for number 8?
This is my number 9.
Oh, number 9. Yeah. Okay.
Spider-Man: No Way Home. On my number 9.
So I have something to tell you.
What?
Spider-Man: No Way Home did not make my top 10.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't even on your honorable mentions?
Well, it was, but I
But
figured it was on your list, and I was making a list that
is unique, my guy.
It is unique because I don't know, like, now that I'm thinking about it, it should have been on my top 10 because it was one of my favorite films this year. But I picked a lot of indie films this year because I enjoyed a lot of these really small films. But
I like that.
I do have a different. It's funny because my number 8 is a different take on Spider-Man, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Yes, Spider-Man: No Way Home, incredible film. You brought back everyone, and it was a really good time.
Good way to round it out for sure. If that's going to be Tom Holland's last, it's not going to be, obviously.
It's no.
But a good a good 3-part origin story, I thought.
Yeah.
For sure. And of course, I'm going to bring his name up a lot, but Willem Dafoe.
Yep.
What else do you want?
Knocked it out of the park.
I don't know what this guy. I mean, this guy just
thought his performance in this was even more awesome than the original. Like, I really did. Like, I thought he just built off the Green Goblin.
Well, there's a scene when he's beating the shit out of Tom Holland in the apartment building, and he's so, you'd never see him coming. Old little Willem Dafoe, 5'1", whatever he is, 108 pounds, soaking wet. But when he gets angry and he starts screaming at you in the goblin voice, and he's just laughing and he's throwing you through fucking walls.
Yeah.
It's incredible,
terrifying,
dude. It's horrifying, but he's so good in it because, of course, he's doing all of his stunts. It was his only stipulation coming in the movie. He said, I have to do all my stunts.
And I have to have at least 2 one-liners. You've spun your last web, Spider-Man.
Yes. And the memes in that movie, man.
It was great. They had all the callbacks that you wanted.
It's so smart, man. Sony and Disney, they weren't afraid to give you exactly what you wanted.
Right.
Which so many films can't do that and refuse to do it.
Yeah, and it wasn't hollow fan service either. It's like everything that they brought in had a meaning, had to move the story along.
I'm somewhat of a scientist myself.
Yeah.
Perfectly placed.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
But Alfred Molina, too, I'd be dismissed if I couldn't talk about Alfred Molina. He was incredible as Doc Ock again. Those are just 2 of the most complicated villain stories. And they make them even more complicated, but still give them enough time for each of them to have their own problems and their own resolve. Yeah. There's a few characters that didn't get maybe the time that they needed in that film, but it was fucking Lizard and Sandman, and who gave a shit about those guys? Yeah. You know what solving their problem would have been? Killing them. Just killing them. Getting rid of them. Sandman, not even a bad guy at this point anymore.
No, because at the end of 3, he was gonna rode off into the wind.
He was fine. He was gonna go save his daughter, live with his daughter the rest of his life. Instead, he's sucked back in. He's like, what the fuck am I doing?
I'm a villain here. I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah. He's the only one that moved 2 steps back after, but Really good. Made my top 10 list. There's another superhero film that made my top 10
Well,
list.
that's funny you bring that up. Number 8 comes in for me, The Suicide Squad, directed by James Gunn.
There you go. I'm glad. Oh, wow. See, that kind of surprised me. I thought...
You thought that would be higher?
No, I wasn't sure if you liked Suicide Squad more than you liked Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, I did.
Okay.
But I feel bad saying that because, again, I love Spider-Man. I fucking loved it. I thought it's definitely my favorite Spider-Man ever. But the Suicide Squad, I gotta be honest, we have our biases here. Like,
one of the
you
funniest...
love Guillermo del Toro. I love we love James Gunn, but...
It's one of the funniest movies of the year, I thought. It was
hilarious.
They introduced so many characters, too. So many shitty characters.
Yeah. Weasel.
Yeah.
He's still drowning.
I'll fucking always go back to that weasel scene. No one asked if the weasel could swim.
And then it's
the most violent. It goes on for 5 minutes.
Oh my God.
It's the most violent drowning you've ever seen.
It really is. It's
clawing.
awful.
But so much confident in that drop at the start. But one of my favorites also, James Gunn, he's also found his niche where he can do fucking anything.
For sure.
And bringing Starro as the villain is very bold.
Super bold.
Difficult thing to pull
That
off.
could have sucked.
I know.
That could have sucked.
Yeah.
Like, it takes a very special director to be able to direct the film.
Yeah, there's not very many people that direct comic book movies these days that could have pulled that off.
No.
Because that's such a goofy, lame fucking thing. But he somehow made it very powerful. I'll always remember that line of when they're... I mean, of course they win. They kill Starro. That's not really a spoiler.
Of course, no.
But at the very end, when he's all dying, and he's like... he says something like... I was fine floating among the stars. And because they brought him down. It was a powerful fucking scene.
It actually was.
For a giant starfish. Yeah. It ended up being super powerful. But the deaths in that movie are very powerful.
They are.
And it gave us Peacemaker.
Peacemaker, and then another show as well.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be coming, I forget.
Which is awesome. And they turned that Peacemaker character around completely in the show. He's much more likable.
I watched the first episode. I thought it was funny.
Oh, the intro to that show is hilarious, too. The dance. But that actually was my number 7. So we're getting pretty close with these things.
Yeah, we are, actually. That's weird. Really weird. So my number 7 is probably your number 1, knowing how big of a fan you are of this,
You want to do it this early?
Yeah.
You got to, I guess.
Did we hear your number 8? Oh, yeah, it was Writers of Justice.
Writers of Justice,
Okay,
yep.
so we already discussed that. Here's my number 7, all right? And I know this is probably your number 1, but it stars the man himself, Nicolas Cage, filmed here locally in Portland, Oregon.
This is not my number 1.
And that is Pig.
Oh, my God. Very high. Very high on mine. Not my number 1. I like that.
Oh, okay.
I like that Pig, yeah.
Yep.
Pig was so damn good, and unfortunately, a lot of people I talked to did not like it. And people just did not understand it.
No. And
I hate
think
to say that about a
because...
movie because it sounds cliche and stupid, but it's I really don't. I think people are missing the point of this. Yeah. It was just a beautiful... People were so upset that pig died.
Well, they were upset the pig died, and then I think they were upset because what a lot of people anticipated going into this was like a revenge tale.
And that's what I said with
2021
last year was the story of the deconstructed revenge thriller, where we got the non-conventional. Because we went in there thinking it was going to be a much grittier, dirtier John Wick.
Absolutely.
Was not that at all, and usually when you go in thinking one thing, it's not that, it's bad. But this one flipped at 180 and was so much better than what I thought it was going to be.
Well, and there wasn't even any combat scenes with Nicolas Cage beating anyone up. The only time was when he got beat up in the underground.
Shit kicked out of him the entire time.
Just to get a couple answers.
Like I said, it was cool that it was shot in Portland. It was a super restrained Nicolas Cage. I think it could garner him an Academy Award. Mm-hmm. He shows a ton of vulnerability in this. And the sadness of that fucking pig, dude.
Yeah.
That
truffle pig.
The truffle pig.
The truffle pig. He was such a little cute guy, too.
And a role you went out for. We got to talk about that, too.
Yeah, and I'll never forgive them for that. Casting me as a meth head. Don't I look like a meth head? Come on.
I told you shouldn't have gone out for the Nicolas Cage role.
I should have. Why? They said he was already booked. And I said, but
They said there's one guy we had in line for this role at Six Kid, and you said, "Let me read.
Let me read. Let me try.
Because you made me surprised.
And if not, I can be a stunt double.
And if not, I'll walk right now."
They're like,
they called your bluff,
okay,
100%.
Oh, they did. They said, well, walk. We don't even know who the fuck you are. Like, get out of here.
You literally wondered. You smell like booze. You wondered it here, and I clearly,
booze and cigarettes. What is going on?
Doing that? But all jokes aside, an excellent movie. That was my number 5.
Ooh, okay.
Pig was my number 5. A great movie.
What is your number 7?
Number 7 was Suicide Squad.
Oh, that's right.
So I'll get into my number 6.
Yeah, 6.
I know we're burning through this.
We are.
Number 6, movie I know you didn't have on your top 10. A movie that I loved so much, but that is it's Psycho Gorman.
Psycho Gorman. Okay, so this was an honorable mention for me, and this was one that I just kept going back and forth. You know, I told you for my number 10, I had like 6 films. That was one of them.
Yeah, it's a PG for sure, of course. PG.
Yeah, PG.
Psycho Gorman, a Canadian film, but so damn good, so fucking funny, dude. The practical effects and the obvious, like, the self know of like these practical effects are so fucking goofy. It's like it's Power Rangers mixed with a bunch of other shit. It's so,
and it's not only that, but the comedic timing for every scene. And I'm talking about the editing.
It's very
as well.
Canadian. Canadians are great with comedy
for sure. And the timing's off. Like when the brain was walking away, it was just long enough to make it fucking hilarious because the brain is just walking into this field. He's like, I gotta go. And he's just walking.
And the long of keeping the camera on him. And the shitty.
So funny.
I don't want to say shitty practical effects because it's meant to look that way. Because I love the practical effects. Psycho Gorman looked amazing. But those other villains of just like the blood bucket guy, where at one point he's just spurting.
It's such a stupid film, but it's awesome.
And it's stupid, but it's like there was so much world building in that movie.
I'd love to see a sequel. I really would. I would love it.
Where they go back to his planet and it's fucking crazy.
Murder, death, and genocide.
And then it's like the council of people that are like, it's a movie that had no right to be that smart at all.
But it was. Yeah.
But it was for sure.
Especially, as you said, the world building and the council of people and how like the main villain with the white suit looked really sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, Power Ranger-esque, but dope.
Yeah, and directed, I gotta give the guy a shout out because it's his first film, but directed by Steven Konskowski, who was a special effects artist and then moved on to direct, and it shows clearly.
Yes.
This movie is so practical effects heavy that it's a movie that would never be made these days. Yep. Never in a million years you would CGI everything here. Yep. Because the amount of makeup these guys had to go through probably every goddamn day.
Oh, probably 8 to 10 hours for Psycho Gorman himself.
Yeah, exactly. But so good, man. Yep. So good. Please go. And that's one movie that go and see, support, pay for it, do whatever you have to do. But amazing.
All right, here it is. Here's number 6. You just said number 6, right?
Yep.
Okay, so this is my number 6, and I know this one is probably going to be much higher on your list, but that is A24's The Green Knight.
Yes, it is higher on my list. It is definitely. Yes.
You don't have to disclose it right now.
Yeah, I won't.
But yeah, because now we're getting towards the top, so you want to hide your numbers, your top 5. But I really did enjoy the Green Knight quite a bit. Yeah, it was just beautiful. It was beautifully shot. The story about Sir Gawain, I just really found compelling, and it was a cool retelling of like what the story was all about.
A movie that we were so excited for from the very first trailer. We saw A24 and The Green Knight, and we were sold. Yeah, directed by David Lowery. He's an awesome director, but
Treebeard was awesome too. Made a reappearance. He hadn't been cast in anything since Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, which is good. He's still getting work. But yeah, and all jokes aside, there were so many scenes that if I was going to go pick out a top 50 best scenes of the film of the year of 2021, multiple scenes from The Green Knight would come out. That scene when he first throws down the wager of anyone to come strike me, and then but 1 year's time I would give you an equal blow, and just the round table and how they did that, and the lighting in that scene was so incredible, and there was so much that was kind of abstract, but kind of what you get from reading those stories too is you don't understand a lot of it, what's going on, just because of the wordage and whatnot. But just a beautiful telling, and hard to do any Arthurian stories.
Yes.
Very difficult for any studio to pull that off.
But if anyone can do it, it's A24.
Yeah, exactly. Just that movie looked so beautiful, and for a $15 million budget, this movie looked like it was made for $50 million.
See, that was the biggest surprise to me, because this looked legitimately anywhere from a $60 to $95 million film.
It's
the fact they did it for $15 million blows me away.
And period pieces are the most expensive films to do.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
the chain
look,
link
the
and
Last
all
Duel.
that.
Look how expensive the Last Duel was.
Right.
This film, $15 million.
It's insane.
Crazy.
And you know what's so sad is it only made $19 million at the box office.
But even for this film to come back and gross its budget back is kind of a big deal for sure.
Yeah.
Because it was made for so little.
I really think more people should have saw it.
Do A24 films ever make their money back?
Yeah, I think they do.
Very rarely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Midsummer and probably Hereditary are the ones. Maybe Lighthouse.
Oh yeah, The Lighthouse. Yeah.
Because those films are usually expensive to make. I mean, more expensive, but $15 million, that's amazing. Green Knight, definitely on my top. I guess I won't disclose.
What is your 6?
6 was Psycho Gorman.
Oh, that's right.
And
okay.
5 was Pig.
5 was Pig. Okay, so I almost don't want to give my 5 because I know it's your 1, but I just already know it's your 1. But number 5 for me. Big fan. Not as big as fan as you of the books, but I did audio or Audible this book, and that is Dune. Dune was my number 5 this year.
Yeah, Dune, of course, was on my top.
Yes,
top 3. I won't disclose it yet, but what did you like about Dune, Mason?
Well, here's the thing. I know a lot of people were actually upset. I talked to a lot of people about this, and they were really upset with like where the movie ended. They didn't really understand the part 2 because they had never read the book, right? You and I went and reviewed the original film before reviewing this one. And
go back and watch
convoluted, just like, this whole storytelling, and like, what was the film, an hour and 50 minutes or whatever? They tried to do the entire story of Dune, and it did not work, right? It was awful. But in this one, they took their time. They really developed, the sand mines and everything, and how, I don't know, I felt more world building. And I think, obviously, Timothée Chalamet knocked it out of the park. I just think it was a great film, honestly.
Yeah, everything. I'll come back to it a little later, too.
Okay.
But everything, the world building and everything behind it, everything had so much weight and reason to it. Yeah. Nothing was there for no reason. But and if you go back and read the books, it's that's right where the part 1 of the book ends. Right. Is right around that area. I know mostly people were upset because of Zendaya was heavily in all the
yes.
and maybe in the film for a total of 3 minutes.
Well, and I think they shot. Well, it was just the same. The 3 minutes were just the same flashback 5 times throughout the film, and I'm like, "Are you like? Is this really all she's going to be in it?"
But just the scale of everything in that movie is so insane.
It is. And the worms looked awesome.
Yeah, and Guillermo and Denis are 2 of my favorites of all time. But I'll talk a little bit more about it. I'm going to go on with my number 4.
Oh, did you say your number 5?
It was.
Oh, Pig. Yeah, it was Pig. Okay, so number 4.
Number 4, one that it's not going to be as high as for you, but it is Power of the Dog.
Yeah, that one did not make my top 10.
How crazy is that?
I know, it is crazy. And that was another one, too, that I was just wrestling with because I'm like, this deserves to be the top 10, damn it. But it's just like, it's so frustrating.
Because this is a movie that will be heavily featured at the Oscars this year.
But my
very
number
possible
4,
that it could win Best Picture.
Yeah, my number 4 is similar to Power of the Dog. But,
well, let me talk about Power of the Dog a little bit. It's a Western psychological drama, which is not subgenres you get mixed in a whole lot. You don't get a lot of Western psychological anything these days. But it was directed by Jane Campion, starring Benedict Cumberbatch, and maybe his best role yet. Also stars Kirsten Dunst and another anchor in the film industry, Jesse Plemons, who you can just pop in anywhere in your movie, and it just elevates it.
It does instantly.
And he's just working with the best people these days.
Because he's the best actor.
Martin Scorsese. He might be.
He might be. He might be the most undervalued, underappreciated actor.
Honestly, underappreciated, I think, for sure. Because he never gets nominated for anything.
Well, yeah, and I will take back the undervalued, because if he's working with those people, then they value him. But underappreciated.
He's never a starring role, but he's starting to get those starting roles for sure.
As he should.
Yeah, absolutely. But The Power Dog, it is another very unconventional Western.
It is, but like in just the idea of this kid going to like
Hannibal
school.
Lecter.
He is, man. And just how like he literally orchestrated the whole thing, and he was waiting for his opportune moment to strike the whole time. But the film doesn't appear that way at all. Like you don't get that sense.
Yeah.
And that might have been but you know,
no, I don't think it's a film that I think you can always base the best films off rewatchability, and this is a film that you can go back and rewatch because so much shit starts to make more sense. Because the whole time you're thinking, when did this kid turn? Mm-hmm. When is the turning point of this film? And it honestly, it may be from the very start. He was always like that, but just a powerful film too that again dissects toxic masculinity in the Old West.
It does. Yeah, there was that. And not being comfortable with who you are and taking it out on everyone else.
Yes, hating people that are free to live.
Bronco Henry. Was that his name? I think it was.
No, it wasn't Bronco Henry, was it? It was
something.
It was something Bronco. I can't remember. Yeah. But yeah, just an excellent story and a heartbreaking story too.
Yeah.
So fucking sad. Like I want these people to be happy.
I know, and even like the quote-unquote guy that you're rooting against, you want him to be happy too, because you realize why he is such a menacing, awful piece of shit, right? Is because he's not comfortable with who he is, and because of that, you know, in Bronco Henry or whatever.
It was Bronco Henry.
It was Bronco Henry? Yeah. Okay. But, you know, he was... you know, always told him as a young teenager, he was like, you can't let anyone know. So you got to be the baddest, hardest motherfucker on the ranch.
And it was a similar story too where Benedict Cumberbatch, he didn't need to do these things. He was very wealthy and is educated as well, but chose because he was gay.
Right.
Chose that he had to live this way because if anyone finds out,
it'd be the
you might as well go off and kill yourself. Exactly. Yeah. But a complicated story to tell.
Yeah, very complicated. That's for sure.
And that's not like the part of him being gay. It's a big part of it, but not the main part at all. It becomes, like I said, a psychological thriller at that point. But very good, Mason. Very good.
All right, my number 4, and I wonder if this even made your list because we're getting down to it. But that is 9 Days.
It's my number 3.
Oh, no. This was my number 4. Okay, so
we can talk about this for a while.
So, directed by Edson Oda, starring Winston Duke, Zazie Beetz, Benedict Wong, Tony Hale, and Bill Skarsgård. Are you kidding me or what? First off, the cast is fantastic. And Winston Duke, I think, should be nominated for an Oscar.
I think this whole film should be nominated, yeah.
It really should be. And it's such a deep and complicated film in the sense of like trying to understand like what life actually is.
Yeah.
You know, and this weird interpretation of this Winston Duke who his character lived in the real world, right? But now because of this thing that you find out that I don't want to spoil, he has to now sit as a server and watch everyone's lives on the screen, and then in this weird like purgatory, he brings in souls to interview to see whether or not they're a good fit for going to the real world. And
he determines who goes, and if you aren't picked, then you cease to exist.
You cease to exist. You're off into
it is very philosophical movie. Yeah. It's a movie that I've watched multiple times, and I even go back and I watch the final scene when he chases her down and does the play for her. It's so good. And like you said, Winston Duke should be nominated for that scene alone, but it's also super, like, cinematography in that film is fucking amazing.
Which is really interesting to say because there's not a lot going on.
No, it's so simple, but there's so many scenes. It's the scenes where Winston Duke, he's much different because he's not the only person there's a millions probably.
Yeah.
I don't even know. But billions could be.
Well, think about the requirements to get to
right.
that seat.
Yeah.
Or to be in that position, you had to
Exactly.
You know, and whatever. It's a little bit of a spoiler, but
you learn it pretty early on.
You learn it early, but you end your own life,
and then you're stuck in this purgatory.
And then you're stuck,
and literally
judging
forever.
people.
Till then, I don't know, till the last star burns out. You are determining if these people are going. But yeah, the scenes, because he's different in a way when once he tells you you're not going, he lets you live out your last fantasy. And those scenes are so beautifully shot.
They're beautifully shot and they're heartbreaking because what Winston Duke does is he has these candidates come and sit and watch, and then they pick out their favorite moments from all these different people's lives that they're watching.
And the way it's shot too, it goes back and forth through like the scene will flash like to like they're really there at the beach or whatnot, or riding a bike. It's so amazing. And just shooting the whole thing of like having his house in the middle of like a sand flat or whatever, and just out in the middle of nowhere. It feels very purgatory-like. Like there's nothing else here but these houses and whatnot. But it's a crazy film, man. That's a film that all of my films on the top 3 could be interchanged anyway.
Yeah.
But that's a film that I left the theater. I think that's a film that I saw right before they really shut everything down. But that film just stuck with me forever, dude. I could not stop thinking about that film. I walked away out of the theater, but just blown away. Like, what if I had to go through that?
Yeah.
How the fuck could I manage that? Like, I'm not the most interesting person there. And that's the thing. It's like all these people brought so many different things. But because of the picks Winston Duke had picked in the past, he was so scared to pick anyone vulnerable in any way.
Or anyone susceptible to doing the same thing that he did.
So he was so mortified that they would go down the same path he went down. That it's just this crazy. It's not like he's like a robot or anything like that. It's very emotional.
Yeah,
and a lot to put on a person too. Because you could put in the next Hitler.
Yeah,
I mean, it could be bad.
Whoops, my bad on that pick. Everyone.
That guy, I thought he was going to be an artist.
I thought he was going to be a painter.
God.
Boy, did that turn to the worst.
Yeah,
and I got to watch all this shit.
But that's the entire sense you got. Is
Yeah.
you can't send out anyone too vulnerable, but you can't send out anyone too cold either. And then
Try
it's
to
like,
find that
but the whole
balance.
time you're arguing who's the best pick. Also, you're trying to decide, and at the end, it's still up to debate. Like, did he pick the best person?
Well, even those scenes with Tony Hale too, and
Tony Hale is just killing it too.
very, very emotional scenes. You know, they're sitting there having a beer, everything's going well. You know, and then like he really thinks at one point he's gonna get picked, and then when he breaks it to him, being like, "Yeah, you're not gonna, you were not selected."
He refuses.
He refuses, and he breaks down. He's
beautifully
angry
shot
and he's
scene.
crying and he's just confused. You know,
and he just walks out into nothing,
and then he just fades away.
Yeah, and Zazie Beetz is who's in everything now, in Atlanta and everything. She kills it too.
She does,
just
yeah.
amazing in it. Yeah, that's my number 3. Like I said, my top 3 can be interchangeable.
Yeah, there's 2. I know for a fact there's 2 films on my top 3 that you don't even have.
Not on at all. So you go ahead and you might as well go ahead and
Okay, so did you say your number 4 though?
I use Power of the Dog.
Power of the Dog. Okay. So number 3 is the film that we just reviewed on the podcast, Come On, starring Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes.
I honestly, I just really, really enjoyed this film. And just kind of just the relationship building between Joaquin Phoenix and his nephew, and just dealing with, like, there were so many elements to this, like with mental health and this child learning, like, Joaquin Phoenix was so like cut off and seemed very distant from everything. And through this journey with this child, he was able to really like just open up and say it was okay, you know?
And a crazy story, because that's how is the picture you get of Joaquin Phoenix in real life.
Yeah.
Is that he is somewhat cut off, but that's why I like this movie so much, is it felt like he was rekindling his love for film, for one, and he said that himself.
Yeah.
But you felt that in the movie too, as the movie progresses, he like started to enjoy more and more what was going on.
Yeah. Gabby Hoffman in this was incredible.
Yeah.
Those phone conversations back and forth, they were so natural. It was like I forgot I was even watching a movie.
I know. And Scoot McNairy gotta talk about old Scoot.
Scoot, old
Scoot
mental
Magoo.
health Scoot.
Great in it. And the kid. The kid was
The kid was a first-time actor.
from England.
Yeah.
Who did
Woody Norman.
Woody, another great name.
A great name for an actor, Woody.
But
not a good name for a director.
This and but a good name for another actor, Woody
Harrelson.
Harrelson.
Actors good, directors bad.
But yeah, just an amazing movie. This and a movie that I forgot to mention in my honorable mentions, but this and Belfast were neck and neck with my two top favorite black and white films.
Yeah,
and
Belfast is something deserves to be brought up on this podcast because that was another
story
really
of like
film.
a crazy coming of age story that was so good. But
And I love the unique cinematography and those shots of like when they're in the hospital, and it's like the rule of thirds, but it's like it's deeper than that. I don't know what kind of lens they used, but it's like the boy on the third, and then you just see a lot of the background in the hospital, and for whatever reason, I just love that.
Yeah, it was amazing. The grandpa in Belfast. I can't forget his. I forget his name, but he's in every. Not in real life. He's still alive.
No, he's still alive.
Yeah, but great, man. But yeah, Come On was such a very personal story to tell for sure for that filmmaker or anyone. But
I'm very excited though, Cash, to get to your number 3. I have to know what is your number 3.
My number 3, we already talked. It's 9 Days.
Oh, 9
all
days
the my top 3 have all been talked about already.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. Well, then I guess we'll jump to number 2, Cash. What is your number 2?
Number 2 was The Green Knight.
Really?
It was.
Wow,
it was
that's
my,
very
It was
high.
my second favorite film of the year. Yeah, we already talked about it, but just so beautifully shot. I loved it. The giant scene. I've been waiting to talk about the giant scene. Was so good and just so fucking random.
Yeah.
Where these giant, 120-foot people just ran naked as hell.
Yeah, I was going to say, there were some titties, some giant
dong,
titties.
I think.
Yeah,
This
a
was
little dong.
for
Yeah,
sure.
or I'd say big dong, actually.
Big dong.
Big.
He might have been small for the giant
for the giant community, but big for,
you and I, very large. Yeah.
Very large. Elephant size.
But I love that world of it's like it's real, but it's fantasy as well. It's both tied in. You're not sure, but it's just crazy. And like I said, the practical effects of the Green Knight and him riding off with his head in his hand, and the whole thing was awesome. I loved it. I love the talking fox.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, the talking fox.
The talking fox was awesome. And the kid from the Eternals. He's got Barry Cogan.
Barry, yeah.
Who's very Irish name, but I love him in fucking everything, dude. He's being typecast as a little creep these days.
He is
sure.
always.
Sacred Games.
Or a cult leader.
In this one, he is conniving little bastard for sure. But a deep story, and my pick for the Joker as well. If the Joker's ever cast in the new Batman films, I think
Matt Reeves.
I think he should be. But I love the whole film. Loved it. I'll watch it again. It's also a kind of a Christmas film.
Yeah.
Because he slays the Green Knight on Christmas, and he goes and finds him on Christmas. So,
do we add it to the Christmas list?
If Die Hard's a Christmas, then we gotta have the Green Knight. But no, number 2. So what's your number 2, Mason?
My number 2 did not make your top 10.
Yeah.
I fucking love this movie. I thought it was awesome. The cast was just incredible. Had a lot of fun with it, and that's the Paul Thomas Anderson directed film Licorice Pizza,
which is a film that should have made my top 10. It should have made my top 10. That's
you should feel disgraced.
I feel like a piece of shit because I love Paul Thomas Anderson. I'm a huge fucking PTA fan. I am. Breaks my heart. That's what I'm saying. This list don't write in stone because it could change from a week from now. It could be a completely different top 10. Yep. It's so damn hard for me not to pick that one.
Yeah. I just loved it. I love Gary Valentine, played by a little nepotiz. Cooper Hoffman. No, definitely deserved it, though. I thought he did a great job. You have Alana Haim.
Alana Haim.
From the band Haim. But she was really good. And there's something about her. She is uniquely beautiful. Very, I actually, because I went to the theater and I asked, I can't remember who I went with, but I asked that same question. Oh, no, it was my dad. That's right. And he goes, yeah, she is. She's very uniquely beautiful.
You should look up the band Haim then, because she's a really good musician too.
Yeah.
So she's kind of a double threat because she's a great actress as well.
Well, this was her debut role as well, which blew me away. I cannot believe she was this good for a first-time actor.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
I just love the period of the 70s Hollywood era or Hollywood
waterbed era.
area. I mean, it's right around where, I mean, you're just running into celebrities left and right. Bradley Cooper, so fucking good in that movie. I can't, and I'm
Even Sean Penn was good.
Sean Penn. Everyone. Yeah, that's what Paul Thomas Anderson does. He gets these amazing characters, and that's what it is. He's just introducing. Every other scene is a new character, and then they're gone. They're not sticking around. They don't overstay their welcome. They're in and they're out, and that's all you fucking need. And then it's anchored by these amazing kids who feel like real kids. They don't look like stars. That's what I like.
Yes.
I liked a lot more when they allowed ugly people to do art.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore.
They don't do that.
They're not allowed.
Every single high school film is like these
kids are
beautiful 25-year-olds.
And even
like, what are we
music
doing
was
here?
a lot better when we allowed ugly people to make it.
I agree. I agree with that quite a bit.
But now it's just, you got to be amazing looking, and it's not how it is. Yeah, exactly. That's a good point to make. Is I don't know if you've heard or watched the show Euphoria on HBO Max.
No, everyone's talking about it, though.
It is this
That's
glamorizing,
Zendaya,
this
right?
fetish. What?
That Zendaya's in that?
It isn't it? It's
Euphoria?
this fetishization of high school and just like it's just non-stop fuck fest. They're all doing drugs.
What?
They're all fucking beautiful. I mean,
So it's not a very good show, then?
it's good, but it's just this weird element. That's what we do with high schoolers, and high school is where we glamorize it to too much because everyone, it's everyone's glory days are in high school. But
Right,
it's not true.
Right, yeah.
It's the worst period for a lot of people, and but these in Licorice Pizza though, they felt like legit 1970s.
For sure.
None of them, like you said, none of them were conventionally good looking, but they all had some kind of beauty to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, super good.
The story was great. There were so many hilarious moments in this. Obviously, the waterbed scenes were awesome. And, the way
Intense.
Paul Thomas Anderson was able to navigate, because in a lot of different ways, like this is kind of like the kindergarten teacher where it could go down a road where it's like super inappropriate. And you're like, I don't know about this. This broad's 25, dating a 15-year-old.
23.
Or 23, whatever she was.
She was really 25. She
yeah.
told everyone she was 23.
Oh, that's right, yeah. But, which is so
He
funny.
turned 16.
He did turn 16, so I guess that's
About
fine.
3/4 of the movie, he turned 16.
But they never went down that weird, route. And like at the end,
No, they weren't fucking
kissed
each
and-
other. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it was. I hate to admit it, but it was just the way it was written and everything was well done, and you got to see the relationship build.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't like predatory or anything.
Yes.
And it was the 70s also.
Yeah, exactly.
Too. I mean, come on. 14-year-olds were getting married
Right.
in Texas. You got to think. But yeah, it was a great story. There's a very, very tense scene in it where, it's just like a snapshot. There's no real plot to it. It's just Gary Valentine, who's the
just a
most
summer.
ambitious. Yeah, exactly. The most ambitious 16-year-old you ever meet in your life.
That's for sure.
But there's a scene where Bradley Cooper goes crazy, but they keep running into Bradley Cooper for like 20
Time and time again, yeah. It's like they try to ditch him, and then they find him
He's
again on the road.
the best one-liner of any movie
I already
probably
know
of the
what it's
year.
gonna be.
Two girls walk by him, and it's after he's going crazy. He,
Right,
he
he
just threw a
something.
trash can through a storefront window, and two girls walk by, and he goes, "Do you guys like peanut butter sandwiches?" And he just immediately turns around.
Well, because to set that all up, he's like, "Man, I love tail. Can't get enough of it. I'm in a girl every single night.
This is where
I
he's
can't
just
get
doing
enough."
anything crazy.
Right.
He immediately pulls Gary Valentine and he goes, "Listen, you fuck with anything, I'll kill your fucking family." Is that your
that your
brother over
brother
there?
behind her?
Is that your brother over there?
I'll fucking kill him too.
I'll kill him. Oh, yeah. I'll fucking kill him. And he's just the craziest guy. But he goes, "You know something about me? I love pussy too much."
And what was so funny about that line is like the guy doesn't even know like anything to start a conversation or try to get some tail.
Yeah.
But it was perfectly embodied
He's just-
in that very moment in the
He
film.
was just the most confident 1970s fucking. He could do anything.
Anything.
Well, he was
on top
famous.
of the
He's a
world.
famous producer.
Yeah,
also.
John Peters or
Yeah.
yeah.
He was dating Barbara Streisand. There's not a lot of people that
Barbara
would
Streisand.
Streisand.
Sand.
No.
Like sand, like the ocean, like the beach, sand.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people that would cheat on Barbara Streisand during that 70s, her heyday. But John Peters, he literally said it was going to get killed, and it probably did. At what point?
Probably did. But there were so many elements of this film. We've been on this film for a little while, but even like with the whole mayor election and then like her being a beard and being called at the restaurant because he's getting tailed. So he's got to walk his boyfriend.
Safdie brother.
Yeah.
One of them. Safdie brother.
Brother. Same with the Cohen brother.
Yeah, I know. They're going
brother.
solo.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, there's, like I said, so many interesting characters. And like you said, it's just a period of over a summer, but it's the most fun, man. It's what you would want to be as a 15, 16-year-old. Where it's the 70s, parents are saying, go run businesses. Run multiple businesses. You are fucking fine.
And actually,
do whatever
as a
you
mom,
want.
I'll work for you at 15.
Hey, I can't go cross country with you as a chaperone. How about you take this chick you met a week ago? That's 25.
Yep.
She used to be the photographer at your school. Let her fly with you across the country.
I love it. The 70s were a wild
baby.
time.
Yeah.
Never get them back, unfortunately.
No, definitely not. A lot of serial killers as well in the 70s.
Yeah, there were. A lot of serial killers.
A lot of people were
Ted
getting
Bundys.
murdered. Yeah. A lot of lead, though. Lead paint, lead gasoline.
Right, which led to a lot of death.
It did. Fun pun for
yes.
a dark subject.
Absolutely.
That was, but that's, I talked a lot about that for not even making my top 10, and I'll regret it till the day I die.
Yeah, you probably will.
Without a doubt. Yeah. My one regret on my deathbed will be that.
I really thought that'd be your number one.
Yeah, well, I'm a piece of shit.
All right, Cash, you're number two.
I already talked about it. It was The Green Knight.
Oh, The Green Knight.
Yeah.
Okay, so number one. I'm very excited about
this.
this. I can go first.
You gotta
Yeah,
go
that's
first,
okay. This film didn't make your top 10, and I think you're going to call me fucking crazy.
Didn't make my top 10, but made your number one.
It made my number one. This film fucked me up. And, I may be a little biased here because I do love me some Anna Taylor-Joy. My favorite film of 2021 was Last Night in Soho.
A film that I didn't even mention on my honorable mentions. I'm an idiot for not even remembering.
And when
it.
you didn't, I go, okay, I know it's not on his top 10. But you had Thomasin McKenzie and Anna Taylor-Joy absolutely crushed this. I love this. I love this movie. And without getting into spoilers, it ruined my day, but in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Because like you're rooting for this girl and you feel bad for her this whole time. And, the situation that she was in was awful, so you sympathize with that. But then to see what happened and, see everything that transpired over the course of the next 40 years, and you're like, oh, my God.
Yeah, that was another one that I got it. That's got to be my 2.5 film, okay? I'm shoehorning it into my top 10.
It is.
It's got to happen. I didn't even think about it, but yeah, I can't believe I missed it, but Edgar Wright, of course, and doing 60s London Soho is so fucking awesome.
It looked beautiful too. And what we talked about during our review was like we were just waiting to get back in the 1960s.
Yeah.
Like we just wanted to go back to that time.
And the soundtrack is killer.
Awesome.
And the use, the just how they shot the film too from technical aspect, the use of mirrors and reflection in that.
Awesome.
Was so awesome. I know they used a lot of twin actors to get that effect, but very depressing story. Holy shit. Heavy, but man, a great thriller that definitely, Edgar Wright being the cinephile that he is, the fan of film, he pulled from so many different classic thrillers. Psycho had a huge influence on it for sure, especially that ending.
Yeah.
But an excellent film. Definitely should have been on my top 10. Another one I'll regret for the rest of my days.
That's crazy. You didn't even think about it.
But
see, I didn't think it would hit your... Yeah, I don't think it would have hit your top. You think it would have?
I think it's so... I think this and Nightmare Alley would have been really close at number 9. And I get... Just so difficult. Damn difficult.
This one was unquestionably my favorite film this year. I loved it.
I'm glad you loved it too, because I loved it. And of course, it was like... It was one of those years where we're like, oh shit, we're getting a Wes Anderson film. We're getting another Edgar Wright film. We're getting a Guillermo del Toro film. We're getting a Paul Thomas Anderson film. We are so fucked when it comes
to the top 10. Yeah, absolutely.
It's always huge. The only thing that would have made it this year, one of the best years ever for those big directors, would have been a Quentin Tarantino had a film to come out.
Yes. Yeah,
but give him his own year.
Yeah, he deserves it. Yeah. Well, and he's only got one more left, which is so sad.
But yeah, that's a great fucking pick, Mason. I think you're absolutely right to be a huge fan of Anya Taylor-Joy. I can't wait for her to play Furiosa in 2024, whenever that's coming out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome. And Thomasin McKenzie, too. I think she's a great
is
actress.
amazing and everything, too.
She really is.
She's in a lot of stuff, too, but... All right, my number one. We already talked about it.
Yeah, I already knew what your number one was going to be.
Yeah.
I knew what it was going to be, too.
You know, it wasn't that easy where, like, I knew immediately this was going to be it. It took some time for me to decide if this was going to be it. But I had to go with
what was the time? 25 seconds?
I had in the end, it was so, like I said, the top three could be. But in the end, I had to go with the movie that I watched the most this year.
Yeah.
And I watched Dune the most. I watched it 3 or 4 times easily. Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
That's incredible.
I love it, man. I love every single scene in that movie. I don't have anything bad to say about it. I love the scene of the Sarkar warriors where that guy's doing the throat singing and they're all getting ready, and it's so fucking cool. And the scene where the Baron comes out of the mud, the where he almost dies and he recoils up to the fucking roof when he gets poisoned. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved everything about it, man. It's just the scale. Oscar Isaacs was fucking fantastic about it as Duke Leto.
So which one would you say you like better? Did you like this one better or the 1983 Dune?
A tough question.
I know, because you really enjoyed that one.
I'm going to have to say this one. This is the Dune movie people have been waiting for. That's a lot to say.
30 plus years after the original.
Yeah. And this film, this was the most scared I've ever been for a film to release, because I was so scared that it was going to be amazing and no one would go and see it. And it ended up making a good amount of money, even though it streamed on HBO Max.
Yeah. And
luckily for me, they announced like a week after it came out that there'd be a part 2. Because I was just sitting on the edge of my seat. I was so fucking mad that people weren't seeing this film. And
that, for me, freaked me out. Because after I saw how good this was, I was like, come on, please just make part 2.
The fact that they didn't make them back-to-back is scary. For films like these, they almost always make Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Because they say, hey, we may never get a chance. Let's spew these out. But now they already have other shit in the workings as well, like a Dune series going to come out.
Well, yeah, but the only problem with this film is it's probably not going to release until like 2025. Because think about hiring all those actors to try to get scheduled out.
I think they had stipulations on their contract that if this does succeed, you will have to set out a certain amount of time for this. I would expect. I think it's going to start filming this year.
Really?
So it could come out December 2023.
Cool with that.
Yeah,
I can wait 2 years.
But this is a film that you want to get on while the hype is good.
Yes.
You don't want to
take too long.
Yeah, you don't want to Avatar. You want to get on while the hype is good. And the hype is good. But I got to go through the cast. Timothée Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson.
Awesome.
Who just does things to me. All right.
You don't have to get into detail. It's a family-friendly show. No, it's not. It's really not a family-friendly podcast.
But she's so great. She was great as Rose the Hat.
She was.
But Oscar Isaac, who's amazing. Josh Brolin.
Yep.
Who's fucking Dave Bautista.
Aquaman,
who just announced he will be in the new Fast and Furious.
Jason Momoa
as a bad guy.
Number 10, yeah. Well, that's fun. Whatever.
Just get every shitty actor that you possibly can.
We'll watch it just to shit on it. That's our one drunken review a year.
But Dave Bautista is fucking awesome. Jason Momoa, like you talked about. Like I said, just talking about it makes me want to go back and watch it again. Yeah. And I was lucky enough to watch it in the theater on the biggest screen possible. But hopefully, I think if they re-release this, they should re-release it during February.
That'd be dope.
Why
in
not?
Theater, because there's nothing.
They do re-releases all the time. Yeah. Why not re-release? I think you could re-release Nightmare Alley in February too, and it would do good. Because that was they released Nightmare Alley in a tough fucking time with Spider-Man.
Yeah, it wasn't the best time to release it. No.
Disney likes throwing some of their fucking movies under the bus. Yeah, and just screwing them. But Dune. If you haven't heard about it,
go watch it.
If you never heard of it, I would recommend it. Streaming on HBO Max.
All right, Cash. Well, that is our top 10.
What a year, Mason.
It's been a great year.
2021.
Our next video is going to be our most anticipated films of 2022, and there's quite a list there, too. So.
And if there's Yeah, if there's any year that might be better than 2021, it might be 2022.
Let's go.
All right.
All right, everyone. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to our top 10 of 2021. If you guys like what you're seeing here, please be sure to smash that like button, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Krause, and until next time.
Bye.